So, video number 2 of the barn door build. It is the next day, and I've recruited the help of my lovely wife and our farmhand Sergio, and we're going to take it around and roll it up onto the track. If measurements are right, it'll go right up in there, and the trolley will rest up in the track, and I'll slide the first one across, lift the second trolley up into the track, and slide it in, and assemble the tin and the translucent panel while it's up on the wall. That's our dog Diesel there. He's a very good supervisor.
All right, both of you lift and come to Sergio about a foot. All right. Sergio, good. All right, go towards Sergio. All right, stop. All right, towards Sergio. Down a little, Sergio. Stop.
Sergio squish.
Okay, let go and come on through.
Okay.
All right, it's in. Keep going. Need a rest, Carolyn? You all right? Keep coming. All right, hold it. Oh, back a little. There we go. Up. Forward. In. Okay.
Done.
Go to Sergio. Don't run it into the jam. All right, stop. Good. All right, done. Slide smooth. Just got to put the bottom track on so it doesn't rub the building. It not only keeps it from blowing away, it keeps it off the building too. And then I got to adjust the hinges a little bit for the rollers. I'll show that in a minute to get the parallel on the building correct. Just a little off here. Yeah, it's got to go that way a little bit. That roller's got to drop down a scotch, so I'll adjust that in a few.
What I'm doing here is adjusting the trolleys. It's 2 nuts on the shaft there, and first you want to adjust your height to where you want it. I usually put them about as high as I can get it without interference. On this particular application, I'm trying to get the girt with the Z channel on it high enough so it'll all line up with the other transition to the translucent panel. And then once you get the height right, you go to the other side and you get that the same height. And you get somebody to stand back and look at the doors parallel to the door opening, so they're both perfectly parallel, because it really doesn't matter if it's vertical and plumb. If that's not parallel, you're going to see it. So you make it parallel. Hopefully your door opening is plumb anyway. Once you get all that right, you go ahead and cinch down on the lock nuts. And the lock nuts on these trolleys have a notch in it. So once you get the height where you want it, you can also rotate the shaft that goes up into the trolley, and it's got like a dog leg in it, and that allows you to adjust how far the door is off of the wall. And once you get that where you want it, the nut has a screw hole in it where you can put a screw, and it keeps everything from rotating and it locks everything in. It's a good setup.
All right, this is the slider track that mounts to the building in the bottom of the door. Will slide, that groove on the bottom of the door slides over top of this L, and it's got three adjustable brackets that you bolt to the building right here, and then it's got adjustment at the bottom so you can slide this out back and forth. They're pretty large brackets, probably big enough to take a double bypass door. Also, you can slide it out a little bit and put a roller ball in there if you want to receive the door. So this track has to cover at least 60% of that door. So, you know, if you got a 10-foot opening here, it's got to be at least 6 feet of it, so the thing doesn't slide off of it, or it's just enough there to be able to support it. That's what they require. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in place.
Once you screw the track to the wall, then underneath the brackets there's a slide bolt that you can loosen up, and I'm adjusting the track's distance from the wall so the door is not scraping along the wall when it opens, so it holds it both ways.
I'm going to set it far enough off the building so if it gets pushed, this way it hits before it hits the building. So also it can't scrape the building all up. Sometimes, a lot of times, people push the door open like this, it ends up scraping the heck out of the building. Actually might come back and set that even further off, but for now it's good. I'll do final adjustment after we get the metal on. So as you can see, keeps the wind from blowing. Even if sometimes these doors will stay open only a foot or something because somebody opened it just far enough, you'll get a gust and it'll pull that thing right off the wall. And with these continuous tracks, this door can't twist or anything. So far, so good. I don't have any stops in place right now, so I got to be careful.
What I'm doing here is cutting all the panels at once. I usually order these to the exact length that I need, but I made a last minute adjustment to the height of the door to account for concrete slab that's going in there, so I got to take an inch off. I never really like cross-cutting these panels. I have no quick and easy way to do it. If you try to do it with 10 snips, you can't get it over the ribs weld, so I always use a angle grinder and just, you know, go at it. And it's a dirty, noisy job, but it gets it done. So I just opted to cut them all at once. And then once I install the metal, I try to put the cut side up so it's tucked away into the J channel, and the factory edge that is painted or treated is sitting on the base guard, because a lot of times water accumulates there and it will be sitting in water for a while. So I have a treated edge sitting in the water, and the cut edge is protected from the weather into the J channel.
You want to sweep off all that excess filings from the grind, because a lot of it's just the cutoff wheel, but a lot of it's metal too. And you just don't want little pieces of metal on this. Even when you put your screw in and it gets a little metal shavings on it, blow that off, because once it's untreated and it's just a little metal shaving, it'll rust. And you end up with rust spots on this stuff, and it stains it. It really won't start the metal itself from rusting, but it'll put a stain on it. And you really gotta, Sergio, brush this edge really good too, because it kind of magnetizes it when it hits. So them shavings stick right to that end, just like a magnet. So you gotta sweep that off, then sweep the top again, and then turn that thing upside down and sweep the underside too. And it's just not something you want falling down off of that sheet of tin while you're trying to stick it on the side of the building, falling in your eye or whatever. Just nasty stuff. So when you normally install the metal on a wood structure, you use these pointy ones right here, and that's enough to pierce the metal and go into your wood purlin, whatever's backing it. But when you're going to metal, you get it with these self-tapping screws. They use a bigger head.
These translucent poly panels from Sun Sky cut very easy. You can cut them with 10 snips. I used to use the fiberglass panels, but they over the years will turn yellow on you. Okay, what I'm doing here now is installing the barn door latches. The hardware I'm using is National Hardware jam latch with 7-inch hookless strike. So I'm putting in 2 of these, and it consists of this mechanism here. And what that does is just grabs the inside of the door, and then you snug it down and it pulls it from the inside tight. Those are the directions on it right there if you wanted to like screenshot that, but I'll show you what we're going to do here. We have 2 of them, so one goes on either side of the inside of the door. Let me get back. So we have this big sliding door here in the middle. My 2 extra panels didn't come in, so I'll finish that up next week. But we're going to put these latches on, and they're going to go right here, and I'm going to drill a hole here, and then that hook drops down in that hole, and then you grab that and you cinch down on it with that mechanism, and that pulls that door in tight and holds it in tight, so when a wind force comes in at that door, it can't blow out. And we'll put one on either side. All right, so what you want to do before you install these on either side is first make sure that your door is centered in the opening, that you're not locking it down past center. So all I'm doing is measuring on either side to the flush with the J channel, right here where the latch goes, and right here I got about 3/8, and right here I got 3/8. Lucky, because I already centered it. Comes with 3 screws. The latch, I've already roughly put the latch in. You're going to have to end up drilling a hole, a 1/2-inch hole there. And so the latch screws the inside of your beam, right like that. And that's going to drop in like that. You want it up so it's kind of coming at it straight, centered on your beam. So I'll go ahead and install that to the beam now. And get this out of the way.
And then when I find my pencil, I will show you how to mark this. Here we go. You want this coming straight in. You don't want it off like that. So just going to mark the hole, basically both sides of the hook. One here, one there. Then I give you like a dead center right there. All right, and get your drill. 1/2 inch bit. Do it without a center punch. Hopefully it stays put. Alright. Then you gotta hook it and then adjust it. It's got an adjuster here. Right now, obviously it's too loose. Bring it on out. And it's got a locking nut there. So you want it, you know, when it pulls down, it's snug. A little tighter. I like it to stay snug so when the wind's blowing and really you got a violent storm, you know, this thing's not rattling all over the place. It's nice and tight, snug. It's going to hold tight. But you don't want, you know, this has a little bit of leverage on it. You don't want it so tight that you're going to ruin the door and bend up your J channel. So one more revolution on that, I think that'll be fine. Nice. It is rock solid. It's not too tight. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up this nut. You can figure out what that looks like. But as you can see, it doesn't move. When I put it on the other side, it'll tighten it up even more. But that's done. And then when you're open and not in use, and this thing kind of flips out of the way. Now I don't really like the way it hangs out here, but once the door's open and gone, it kind of hangs out of the way there, so it's not, doesn't look like it's going to interfere with the door sliding. I guess if you're real careful, you could probably hang it like that, but you know, it does the trick. So once again, put that in that hole, crank her down, and you're done. All right, just do the same thing on the other side, and you're done. All right, thanks.